Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to Miss Master Self 101. We're going to go ahead and jump right into our video with our affirmation for the day. Ooh, let's see what the universe has for us today. All right, we're going to stop right here. Believe in your prayers. That's the affirmation for today. Believe in your prayers. Now, I have done a video about faith. So by now, if you have watched that video, you know exactly how I feel when it comes to faith. And that's exactly what that's saying. Believe in your prayers. You have to have faith in your prayers. When you put that prayer out, you know, whoever you're praying to, whatever you believe in, when you let that prayer out of your mouth and you send it off to God, or you send it off to Allah, or you send it off to the universe, you have to have faith in that prayer. The faith is the actual ingredient that moves things. That's what's going to bring you exactly what you want. That's what's going to magnetize it right to you. And in record speed, depending on how strong your faith is and depending on how often you think about what it is that you want. So there it is, y'all. Believe in your prayers. How y'all doing today? I hope you guys are doing well. I'm in Florida. It is beautiful today. It is September for us, so we're getting into the fall, but Florida is kind of like summer. It's almost like we have an extended summer. Like our fall is not really fall type weather. It doesn't really get fallish until like late October-ish, maybe around Thanksgiving. I want to say last Thanksgiving was super hot. I don't even remember. Some Thanksgivings are cold, some Thanksgivings are hot, child. I can't. But guys, today we are talking about the importance of reading. Read more books. I want to discuss this topic because I feel like this is a skill that is not being exercised as much as it should be. Many folks don't read at all. You know, some people haven't even picked up a hardcover or a paperback book in years. And that's a problem. So y'all, before we get into the topic, as always, thank you much in advance. Please like this video, share, comment, subscribe, turn on your post notification bell so you are aware whenever a new video drops. And let's get into today's info. All right, y'all, so what's the importance of reading books? What's the real benefits of reading books? Because reading books is just not for your entertainment. Yes, you can read for entertainment. Yes, you can read for self-help. Yes, you can read for self-therapy. However, reading, like the actual task of reading, as in your eyes put to pieces of paper, and I know nowadays we have all these different types of formats, such as Kindle, you know, on the phones or on the tablets, and audio books and such, and those are excellent. They're super convenient. I love them too. However, there is something very special and magical about hard copy books, about touching a book and about your actual eyes looking onto the pages and seeing the words and reading those words by word by word. There's something that happens in the mind. There's something that connects the mind with the body, with the spirit. I don't know all the mechanics behind it, but I may look into that and do another video on that so that we can understand that a little bit more, because there is something very magical about it. Many books that I read, self-help books of many prestige men and women, they all say the same thing. They say it in a different manner, but it's all still the same message. So clearly there's something magical about books, actual hardcover or like a paperback book. What is the true benefits of reading itself? Well, I'm going to give you a few. Number one, it reprograms the subconscious mind. If you have been watching my videos, you know that I have mentioned this quite a few times now about reprogramming the mind and the importance of reprogramming the mind. In order for you to be something different, in order for you to have something different, right? It all starts here, and you have to reprogram the way it works inside of there. So every time we think, every time we do something, we're actually creating these new thinking patterns, which are also known as neural pathways inside of our brains. Each time we go back and do the same action or we think the same thought, that thinking pattern, it grows and it gets stronger. So just think about that visual. So if you've been doing something the same way, thinking the same way for an extended amount of time, for years and decades out of your life, just imagine just how strong and just how big those thinking patterns are. It is essential for you to rewire. So you'll have to undo those thinking patterns and then put the right kind of thinking patterns back into the psyche, so that we can continue to develop new thinking patterns. And ultimately, we do develop a new body. Because if you know anything, every 7 years, the body is developed into like new cells. All of the cells and atoms inside of our body are regenerated, but those new cells and atoms are regenerated by what? The thoughts that you put in here. So, reading most definitely helps us to do that, because depending on what you read, you actually get to control what goes inside of your brain. One of the best ways to rewire your thinking is to basically overfill your mind with a lot of positive, with a lot of good that you want to put. Whatever your goal is, you want to refill your mind with an abundance of it, until it completely just eats and takes over all the negative thinking patterns that you had before. Reading allows you to do that. You get to pick what you want to read. All it takes is 10 pages a day, and you just continue to read every single day and increase your knowledge and correct those thinking patterns and create a new way of thinking, being, seeing, having, and doing in your life, just by simply reading. Another benefit, reading raises your frequency. Again, that hits on you being able to choose what it is that you want to read. You being able to choose what it is that you put inside your mind raises your vibration, as long as you are choosing a high vibrating book or material. Simple. Another benefit is that reading allows you to boost your critical thinking. It allows you to form your own thoughts. It allows you to create your own minds. When you're reading, it's not you and everybody else commentating, right? When you're reading, it's just you one-on-one with the paper. It's just you one-on-one with the words. So whatever you're reading, you interpret that, you perceive that how you only you perceive it. There's no other back and forth. There's no sideline conversations. There's no friend to tell you, no, this not right, or that's wrong, or yeah, you're right. Nobody there to validate you. This is all you. So this is how you're going to be boosting your critical thinking. This is how you're going to be creating your own thoughts and creating your own mind and creating your own individual, because this allows you to think on your own. Thinking is always the key. Thinking moves things. Thinking always creates things. Remember that. So a few other benefits of reading. Of course, we have our entertainment purposes. If you want to read whatever it is that interests you, always take knowledge into it. You know what a great rule of thumb is? Whatever scares you, whatever fears you have, read about it. Why? Because knowledge is power. That's how you overcome fears. You get more knowledge on it. When you're afraid of heights, what do? Start researching about heights. Start researching about people who done went to as far as this. Start doing little ventures like, I went 500 feet, I went 1,000 feet, I went 12, whatever. You start to read about it. You start to educate yourself. Education conquers fears. That's a great affirmation, guys. Education conquers fear. Remember that. Reading books increases our knowledge. Remember, knowledge is power. The more knowledge you have, the more powerful you are. And reading is a low-key flex, because nobody actually knows how much knowledge you have unless you allow them to know. So unless you guys get on a good topic and you get to elaborate and explaining what you done read and what you understand, and you get excited and passionate about that topic, that's when they get to know, like, wow, this person is really okay. You're really intellectual. Wow. at first I was looking at you like right here, the two, no, no shade, but you actually are up there. Wow, I'm intrigued. It's a low-key flex. It's such a humble flex, but it's one of the biggest flex to be an avid reader. It's to know what you're talking about, and for you to actually meet people and hold a conversation about something that both of you have read. Ooh, big flex. That's actually very sexy for men to be readers as well. Very sexy indeed. Reading books, it allows us to self-improve, like what we're doing right now, developing in our character. It allows us also to do or to have and to be our own form of self-therapy. So that again taps into you choosing whatever types of books that you want to read. So if you feel like you need some therapy and you don't want to go to an actual therapist, or you can't afford, or you're just in some kind of circumstance where you can't get to a therapist, then just get a book on self-help. Whatever you feel like you're going through, get a book on it. Remember what I said, education always conquers fear. Knowledge is power. So get you a book and start there. Let's see. As we know and would imagine, reading literally exercises the brain. So like how we exercise our bodies, right? We go to the gym, we do yoga, some do Pilates, more power to you. I know that's right. People do sports. That's the same thing with reading. Now, as we're reading, I would imagine that there's different aspects of the mind that's being exercised. I want to say the eyes, number one, the eyes are connected to the brain. The eyes are being exercised because they are literally reading, on the paper from, what do we read? Left to right, left to right, left to right, right? So they're literally getting a physical exercise. Now, whatever functions happen from the time where we look at something and when we read it and it actually registers in our mind and we know what we're seeing, what we're reading, that's also a form of exercise. Whatever is happening in there, whatever organs, whatever, I don't know, the psychology and the anatomy behind what goes on with that process. But whatever is happening, I would imagine that is exercising as well. Then we get to the part where inside the brain, we have to, okay, I'm seeing this. I can read what it says. Now, where's the cognitive part of it? Understand it for me. That part, the part in the brain that understands us and relays that to us so we know like, okay, yeah, that's what I'm reading. Oh yeah, that's what that means. That is a form of exercise as well. The brain needs to be exercised, guys. That's why some people, they unfortunately get to lose the functions of their brains quite early in life because it's not being exercised well enough. Reading can also reduce stress, and it also enhances sleep. If you read 10 pages of a book per night right before you go to bed, that will give you such a good sleep that was very much so needed. Almost like a sleep coma. You will wake up the next morning very refreshed, and whatever you read that night will be on your mind, and it will be in your subconscious. That's a fact. So be very intentional what you read at night right before you go to bed and what you read at the very first thing in the morning after arising. So, guys, books are magical. I want to talk about that for a minute. Remember I told you about the hard copy and the paperback, having the actual book to hold it, to touch it, to read it. You know what I'm saying? Something about that whole aspect is magical itself. Books are magical in the sense of they are passed down sometimes from user to user to user. Getting older books are highly suggested by me. And when I say older books, I mean as in get as close to the first edition of a book, especially if it's something very important that you're learning, like some type of skill, some type of self-help look. Like, for example, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, something like that. You would definitely want to get as close to the first edition as possible. And I'm going to tell you what's magical about that. When we are getting these books nowadays with these new editions, with this has been updated and that has been updated, yeah, it's been updated all right, and many things have been taken out. By the time we get these revised revisions and versions of the books, they are very much so watered down. You know, some people can read a book and they get so much information out of it that's there because it's an older edition and it hasn't been revised, and everything that was original that was in the book before that actually worked is still in the book, versus this new revised vision where they've taken some things out and now they've kind of like changed and switched up the recipe. Think about it like that. Think about when you have a recipe for KFC chicken. Let's start there. Let's use that as an example. KFC chicken tastes a certain kind of way. It don't taste nothing like Popeyes. It don't taste nothing like Church's chicken. It don't taste nothing like Publix fried chicken. KFC tastes like KFC. Their recipe is KFC. Now, if I was to go to KFC and started messing with the recipe and started taking out this from out the batter and taking this out of the seasoning and replacing it with this, and I give it to you, all I did was change 3 things off the recipe and I gave it to you. When you make it, it might still be good. It might still be good, but it won't be KFC. And that's what I'm talking about. When you get a first edition of the book, you are getting the original, the untouched, the unbothered, okay, the unfiltered, the unfiltered version of the book. That's the good stuff. That's the stuff that works. That's the money. That's the power. By the time we get these new 2025 reversed, I don't even want these revised versions. I don't even buy books brand new like that. Like from off Amazon, don't. I go to, and this is my little gem, you're welcome, if you don't know about it, thriftbooks.com. One of the best places that I go to get my older books. They're usually passed down from, because it's like a thrift shop, but for books. So they're passed down from different users. So inside, sometimes you have notes, you know, sometimes you have a little bit of wear and tear, but I love that. I love the underlining. I like the notes. I like seeing people's signatures and the dates that they were in there. To me, it's something magical about that. Because maybe a whole billionaire, gazillionaire had this book before me when they first started out their journey, and they probably did their underlining and they actually touched it and they molded it, and this was their book, this was in their presence. So that energy of money is on the book from this gazillionaire. I needs that. Do you understand what I'm saying? I love thriftbooks.com. So if you guys don't know about it, check it out. The books are usually pretty cheap on there, and they do have a lot of titles on there as well. But yeah, there's something magical about that, y'all. It's something magical about getting those first edition books. So if you can, and if your pockets can afford it, because they are not cheap. They do cost a little pretty penny sometimes, depending on the literature, but well worth it. And then, you guys, one thing that I kind of want to touch on, and you know, I should have did a little bit more research about this, but if you haven't noticed, reading has been discouraged in the school systems, in the modern day school systems. I don't feel like reading is being encouraged as much as it should have, or as much as it used to before. Like when I was growing up, the system that I went through to learn reading, it's completely different from what the kids are going through now. When I grew up, it was something phonics. It was something like that. I think I was the last intel of that generation to get that. And I actually learned cursive too, but I don't think I learned it in school. And that's another whole nother topic. But yeah, phonics is what I learned it on. And that's what I'm saying. I should have did my research a little bit more about phonics. But from what I understand, phonics is an educational system that's set up that is guaranteed to teach the individual the basics and the fundamentals of reading so that they can develop on that to, you know, become an avid reader and just a full functional mind. And that was taken out of schools and it was replaced with something else that does not encourage reading as much as phonics used to. And I find that interesting. Books are not really encouraged as much as they used to. I don't really hear kids excited to go to the library or talking about checking out books and such. You know, when I was growing up, We had a whole series out, the Goosebumps, Junie B. Jones, the little bad boy with the teeth that looked crazy, like little shark teeth. What was his name? David? With his little bad self. You know, books like that. The whole Dr. Seuss. There was a green book. It was green with a tree. Something like the Giving Tree. And then there was a book called Are You My Mother? The little animal, I think it was a little baby duckling going around asking, are you my mom? And something with a bear. Like, I remember these books. Like, these kids don't know nothing about that nowadays. Are y'all paying attention to that? Something's happening here. And it's being done on purpose. And I'm going to just leave it right there. But that should tell you something. If they are trying to discourage, whoever they is, are trying to discourage reading and certain levels of reading and like not really teaching these kids as much as they should be taught or how we were taught as well back in the days, it's for a reason. I'm just saying. So I want to give you guys a couple of different book recommendations that I have. I have 16 different recommendations. You don't have to look into all of them, but I highly recommend you at least write it down. One day you may need it. You never know. Everything happens for a reason. Everything that is presented to us is presented for a reason. There is somewhere in our mind that wanted this information, and that's why you're here today to receive it. So I'm going to give it because the universe gave it to me at one point in time, and now it's my duty and my turn to share it with you. So here we go. The first one is called Mastery of Love, and this one is by, I want to say his name is Don Miguel Ruiz, or it might be Miguel Don Ruiz. I think it's Miguel Ruiz. The Mastery of Love is an amazing book. I set it on purpose as the first book that I talk about. The rest of them are not in any order, but this one definitely is. It is not what people usually think when they hear the Mastery of Love. You would assume that it's about, love, like relationship, husband and wife, girlfriend, boyfriend type love, but it's actually not. It hones in, it specifically focuses on self-love, and then it does go to include love in other relationships other than just romance. So with family, with co-workers, with people you meet just in general, with strangers. It is an amazing book. Please get it, please read it. Now this is the only one, well, not the only one that I highly recommend, because I have something for the ladies too, but I recommend this book for everybody, all ages, all hands down. Book number 2 is The Laws of Power. Everybody done heard about that, by Robert Greene. Get into it. You need to understand that even if you don't want to use the laws of power, which you actually do, there's a lot of laws in there that we use on a daily basis, and you don't even know that that's what you're doing, and that's actually why you're getting the success that you're getting, and that's why things are working for you. Get the book so you at least have the knowledge so that you can recognize when and if other people are doing it to you as well. So get that book. And I think I have a copy over here. Hold on, y'all, because I want to say this is what that one looks like. This is The Laws of Power. It is a thicky book, I'm not gonna lie to you. I am only about halfway through the book, so I still have a little bit more to go and to get through that book, but it has been amazing so far. The next book is The Magic of Believing. Bomb book. I've read this book several different times. This one is by Claude Bristol, The Magic of Believing. The next book that I recommend, highly recommend, right up underneath The Mastery of Love, is The Power of Positive Thinking by Dr. Norman Vincent Peale. Baby, if you need a good self-help book, if you need a good pick-me-up book, if you are going through stuff in your life and you just don't understand why it keeps happening, if you feel like you are being surrounded by so much negativity, either within or just around your external environment, I'm telling you, get the book. Even if you feel like you don't have any of that going on, get the book. It is going to teach you why it is important to be positive and how to be positive in all different types of aspects. And I do want to tell you that this one is a religious-based book. Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, it is coming from like a Christianity-based book, but anybody and everybody can read it. The next one that I recommend is Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. Everybody knows about this book. Get it. Ask and it is given by Ester and Jerry Hicks. That is an amazing text as well. If you want to learn about the law of attraction, how to manifest, and how that works, this is a great book to start with that explains and teaches you the fundamentals of it. Amazing book. And it has a whole bunch of different types of techniques and basically games that you can play with the universe, and they work. I would not lie. I would tell y'all a joke, but I promise you I would not tell you a lie. They work. The next book is See You at the Top by Zig Ziglar. It's exactly what it sounds like. It talks about the different qualities and traits and characteristics that you need to see to rise yourself to the top, which is exactly what we're talking about. And we'll probably do a separate video on that book. I'm gonna make a note of that. We'll do a separate video on that book itself and really get into that book because it was bomb. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I don't know who has not heard about this text. If you have not, you need to get it. And even if you have already read the text, read it again, because every single time you read, you always get something different out of it. And hold on, we're gonna stop right there. That's another benefit of reading books. Every single time you're gonna get something different out of it, because we experience things in life all the time. Like, different things happen. Sometimes you could read about something today and you don't have that experience, or you don't know anyone with that experience, so you can't really relate to it. But maybe another month later something ended up happening, or you witnessed something happen, and now you actually have that experience to go, oh, aha, now I see what that book was talking about. So always reread books. Next book, The Magic of Thinking Big. This is by David Swartz. Bomb, excellent book. I've read that about 2 or 3 times too. I need to go back and revisit it because I haven't read it in a couple of years. Amazing book. And now the next book, some of you may not have heard of this group, but I used to follow them on social media, and it's called they are called Black Wealth Renaissance. And they wrote this book called Manage Your Money Like the 1%. Initially, I bought this book just to support them. But y'all, when I tell you this book is bomb, I have highlighted, took notes, underlined all up and through this book. I even have a whole separate piece of paper that I did to set myself up. It literally teaches you how you need to set yourself up with the finances. It teaches you about different types of investments for you to get into to grow your money. Highly, highly recommend this book. Black Wealth Renaissance. Check them out on social media as well, and I'll see what I can do about putting the link in my description so you guys can just click that link and don't have to research it for yourself. The next book is Too Pretty. I was already holding it. Too Pretty to Pay Bill. If y'all don't know about, ladies, this is the one that I was saying, this is for us. I know y'all know about Mama Shera 7. I know y'all know about the Sprinkle lady. Sprinkle. Okay? I know that's right. Go and get that book. If you have not gotten it, it is on Amazon. It is also on that thriftbooks.com that I told y'all about. I thought that was so funny. She is on there. So go ahead and get your copy. All the women, get a copy. Okay? You need to have it. Trust me. If you know about Sprinkle, you already know what's up. That definitely is in the book list. Highly recommend it, along with her other book called I Bring Nothing to the Table. That's Shera 7, and I'm going to try to put that in my description below, just because she's not as big as the other authors, so it may be a little bit harder for you to find. So I'll put that in there for you for sure. And I think that might be, I thought I had the other one to show you guys, but I don't have her other book, but it's called I Bring Nothing to the Table. Next book, The 5 Love Languages. This is a good book that's like self-therapy, in my opinion. When you read this book, read it with yourself as a perception of the book. So read it like you're reading about yourself and getting to know yourself, versus trying to read it because you want to get to know somebody else or a love language about somebody else. This book is going to teach you so much about yourself, why you like certain things, what you actually like. Even if you feel like you don't have a love language, we usually do. Some of us have all of them, but they're just in different orders. And then some of us just have like maybe a couple or maybe just one. It just, you know, it depends. It depends on the person, but that's an amazing book to read, and for couples as well. That book is great for any kind of relationship, any relationship with self, relationship with family, loved ones, relationship, like a romance relationship, working relationship. It's good to have this information in your arsenal. Is that the right? In my arsenal? No, but I thought arsenal was like... It's good to have this in your backpack as a weapon, just so that you can recognize it once again when it's presented to you. Don't give me too much, guys. The next one, we're almost finished. This one is also for the ladies. It's called Herbal Healing for Women. I don't have it up here to show you guys, but it's by Rosemary Gladstar. I am a herbalist, so I don't believe in the modern Western medicine. I actually prefer alternative medicine using herbs and food and diet. And this is a great start if you are getting into like holistics. She literally teaches you about herbs, how to use them, how to create tinctures. She teaches you about different tips, different recipes for all kinds of female issues and conditions, and just how to maintain ourselves, and teach us so much about health and nutrition. That's definitely a good book for y'all to get into. And last but not least, Holistic Self-Diagnosis by Dr. Llaila, Afrika. Oh my God. If you are somebody who is into holistic or natural healing, you definitely need to secure a copy of this book. It's called Holistic Self-Diagnosis by Dr. Llaila, Afrika. This book will literally tell you how to read your own health. Just by looking at your body, just by how you feel on the inside, what you're experiencing, it will teach you how to read it. You can go to the doctors and you can go get a complete blood scan with all your levels and all that stuff and come back to the book, and it will teach you what each single level is and what you have to do to get it up. Amazing book. It would teach you by just looking at moles. For example, looking in the eye. If you have any moles that are like right here close to the eye or coming down here, that indicates some kind of issue with the liver. Now with mine, I noticed that I had like a little discoloration, but dang, it disappeared. Oh shoot, I have been working on it, y'all. I used to have a mole down there somewhere, and I knew it indicated something with liver because I did used to drink a little heavy when I was younger. School days, college age, y'all don't give me too much. So I knew there was something going on, but I definitely have been working on it, and clearly I've been doing my little thing. So yes, guys, definitely secure your copy of the book. And when you read these books, when you read any book, what is the goal? The goal is not to read and just be entertained. The goal is to read, retain, and apply to real life so that you can actually get some of this success that these books are teaching and helping you. A lot of the books that I gave you today are self-help books. They will help anybody. They are for all ages. As long as you literally read the information, retain it, take notes, underline it, go back, review it, and apply it to your real life, or pay attention in real life so that you can witness when it happens, so you know, okay, that's this or that's that. Chef's kiss. You'll be good. So y'all, with that said, I'm gonna leave you with two different phrases that we all have heard from the beginning of time to right now, and it will always remain. Knowledge is power. The mind is a terrible thing to waste. So that's all I got for y'all today. I will see you for the next session, and enjoy, guys.